You guys, we just saw a bear.
A bear on the way out here.
We got 4 solid, dirty seconds of it on camera.
They're bad.
But it was beautiful.
It was.
He was adorable. Friendly little guy.
Yeah. He looked really cuddly. Anyway, everyone, hi. Today we're going to do a kind of a different style of video in celebration of us reaching 100 subscribers. Woo! Confetti. Anyway, yeah, we're going to do top 5 climbs because 100 subscribers is kind of a landmark, and we have a lot of favorite climbs, so we thought we'd let you know about them.
Yeah, the criteria for these climbs is purely subjective and our personal stoke on the climbs, and the only other criteria is that we had to have sent it, otherwise we would have put Evolution on the list.
Yeah, but not yet. Not this year. Maybe next year.
Next year. Yeah.
So, starting off with number 5 for me is Led Zeppelin in Dale's Camp, just across from the Buttermilks in Bishop, California. Led Zeppelin is like this kind of lowball dyno problem. The reason why it's my number 5 is because I fucking love Led Zeppelin, the band. So, when I came across the problem in Dale's Camp the first year we were in Bishop, it was like, oh my god, there's a huge boulder that looks like a Zeppelin. How amazing is that? And there is a climb called Led Zeppelin. It was so cool and it looked impossible. How do I hold on to these? How am I going to get to that?
It looked impossible.
Totally impossible. It was like a pipe dream. And then last year when we showed up, I was like, Led Zeppelin, I think I could probably do this. It's V8, I'm climbing V8 now. And didn't even take very long to do it. And it just felt like perfectly my style. It's got a really cool high heel hook on crimps, slightly overhanging. And then you go up to worse crimps and then dyno to the top. And that's it. It's such a clean, fun problem with a good landing and a dyno at the top. It's really, really good. And Led Zeppelin kicks ass. So, rock on. And then we're going to go to Kyle's number 5, which is, I believe...
The 45.
The 45,
right?
Yeah. Which is a very similar climb to Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, the 45 was so fun. I mean, it was a V8, and like when I first got on it, it seemed like something I could do eventually. But at the time, I was really, strong enough to do it. Because it's just straight power. I mean, that's how I felt when I was on it. I was like, I just need mad power to be able to make these moves. It's on this 45-degree block with pretty good holds and a fat left heel hook that you just need to stick to throw up left hand and nab the lip, right? It's amazing. I mean, the main reason why I love it so much is because it took focus, extreme focus, more focus than I've ever put in any single move.
I remember that.
There's only like 3 moves in the entire route, and just that heel hook, locking that heel hook in was really hard while you're dynamically moving upward and slapping the lip. The moment you keep the heel on, the lip stays, and you don't swing out, and then you can just top out. But keeping that heel on was a serious challenge. I mean, it was so mental for me. I knew I had the strength to do it. I just had to focus. So that's why it's my number 5.
All right, well, I guess this is turning out to be more of like a top 8 climbs or something, because there's 2 of us, but whatever. Because number 4 for both of us is Black Magic, which is a V3 slab at the Happy Boulders, I believe, in Bishop, California. It was our first year in Bishop, and we came across this giant slab, and we love slab. I mean, a lot of people don't like slab. I don't get it. I love slab. I love the balancy, kind of delicate,
holding
desperate.
on to nothing.
Yeah, it's really cool. But that one is like, it gets juggy at the top. So it looks really tall, and then you do the first few moves, and you're like, I am not going to do this 20 feet up.
You're going up there thinking to yourself, if the last part is anything like the first part, you're going to fall and die. But it turned out to be really easy at the top, and so every year we go back, we try it.
Yeah, it's a very cool problem for novice climbers who haven't spent a lot of time in Bishop doing high balls. It's a great one to practice on and get a cool head so that you can do harder, bigger stuff. And then, coming to number 3 for Kyle,
Naughty Corner, which is actually right below the 45 in the Paradise Boulders. And man, something about Naughty Corner I just love. It looks amazing. It's just a 90-degree block that has crimps up cracks that go straight up the face, that's slightly overhanging, and then you just dyno to the lip, one-handed, stick it. Oh, it's so solid. The top is like, it's not a fat jug, but it's definitely like a really relatively in-cut ledge. And it's just an amazing climb. I mean, I remember working the beta over and over again, trying to get the perfect movement down, and then the moment I got it all down, can send it every time now.
Yeah, it's about that foot, that
great.
one. There's so many foot options, but the right
foot,
one for us.
And the landing is great. You only need 2 pads, 3 if you're being luxurious. You always fall straight down. The top is just high enough that it's committing to jump for it, but not too high that it's really that scary. I mean, very safe landing. Just amazing climb.
Well, which brings us to my number 3, which is also in the Paradise Boulders, but has a horrible landing, and that is the Loch Ness Monster, which is a long V7 climb that sits at the top of the Paradise Boulders, and it overlooks the whole valley. It's so cool. The first time I was walking through the Paradise Boulders and I saw the Loch Ness Monster, I said, I'm going to send that.
It's true, that happened.
It just looked so good. The landing is not great because you have to traverse across the lip of the boulder that's above the edge of another boulder, so you can kind of land like on the boulder that's beneath you, or 3 feet lower than that on the other boulder, or split your legs. One time, Kyle saved my butt by tossing a pad right where I was about to fall. That was good. But Loch Ness Monster has everything. It's got crimps, it's got slopers, it's got pinches, it's got jugs, it's got toe hooks, heel hooks, crosses, toe hook, heel hook crosses. It's got dead points, it's got matches, spans, reaches. It's got everything. It's got absolutely everything. And it's long, too. It's like 30 moves almost. So it really feels like you have to climb it smooth to have enough energy at the end to do the dead point to the jug and then top out. Very fun. And that's why it's my number 3. My number 2 goes back to Bishop, California. Atari in the Happy Boulders. Atari is a pure compression line that sits beautifully atop the rim of the Happy Boulders Canyon. It is so majestic. It's the first boulder you see when you go to the Happy Boulders. It's the first boulder we saw when we went to the volcanic tablelands in Bishop 4 years ago. And we thought, is that hard? Can we do that? And we couldn't even pull off the ground.
But couldn't span it.
Yeah. But next year, we came back and we tried it again, and I was able to pull off the ground, but I couldn't make any moves. So then the following year, I trained compression with weights and at the gym. Everything I did, I had Atari in my mind. And then year 3, when we come to Bishop, we crush it. It was so fucking fun. Well, crush, it took me a lot of tries, but I did eventually get it. And I may have shed some tears at the top because I was so psyched. And the view from Atari, too, is the best view of any boulder I've ever been on top of, because from the bottom, when you're standing there, all you see is essentially the face of the boulder. If you look to the right, you can see like some of the Happy Boulders. Maybe the top of Mount Tom, maybe. But once you get on top, you see all of the Owens Valley. You see Bishop down there. You see mountains on either side. Mount Tom is just casting a huge shadow over Bishop. It is the most amazing top out I've ever done. I have dreams about it, for real. What?
All right. My number 2. All right. Midnight at the Zelda Boulders in Index, Washington. This V9 is the most fantastic V9 I've ever climbed. It was amazing. It starts on a relatively good jug ledge that goes up crimps that get smaller and smaller, and then you just one-hand dyno again. You know how I love them one-hand dynos. One-hand dyno to the lip, which is real slopey and bad, and you gotta hit it perfectly.
Perfectly.
You gotta hit it right at the top of the parabola of your jump. I mean, I got super close, like 3 or 4 times, to the point where I was coming back into the wall, and I thought I was gonna stick it, and then I just slipped off, because it's just, you have to nail it, right? The boulder is relatively high ball. It's very committing. Every single time you make an attempt, you gotta fall from like really high up. The landing is good, perfectly flat, pretty much falls straight down. I did take a couple weird wonky falls, but once some friends showed up and had a bunch of pads, it was super, super nice. It's a really aesthetic climb. I want my climbs to look good. Follows the obvious line up the relatively bare face, just amazing. Plus, the whole Santa hats and Christmas theme added a lot to the fun.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. You sent it 3 days before
I know,
Christmas?
that was my Christmas present to myself.
And this takes us to number 1. Number 1, which it's going to be the Iron Man Traverse. No,
That's right.
I'm just kidding. It's not. It's not the Iron Man Traverse.
Oh.
It's Suspended in Silence.
Oh, baby.
Bishop, California.
Have mercy.
The Pollen Grains is home to some of the biggest boulders in Bishop. The Buttermilks, obviously, everybody knows about, but the Pollen Grains is a little less traveled, but equally as good. And Suspended in Silence is a V5. V5?
Yeah,
I don't know.
V5, baby.
I think it's a V5. We were V5 climbers when we did it. Apparently, it was broken when we did it.
In the book, it was a V5. So we looked at it, we were like, oh, it's a V5. We climb V5. We could do this. And then only when we got back, some buddies were like, hey, yeah, that broke, and it's a V8, actually. And we were like, well, we did it.
Pretty sure it's not V8, but mentally, if you think you can do it, you're much more likely to do it. But Suspended in Silence starts with a fat dyno, and it is so much fun. And then once you stick the dyno, you gotta keep going up crimps that you hope are there.
If it said V8, we would have assumed the crimps weren't there, but it said V5. And we were like, there's got to be crimps up there then.
Yeah.
So we just trusted it and went for it, and both of us sent it. It was amazing. It was amazing.
It's not the first time that we've climbed something harder than we can climb because we thought it was easier than it actually was, and it probably won't be the last.
But we definitely are both in agreement that it's the best climb that we've ever climbed.
Oh, for sure. It's too bad we don't have more footage of it. We filmed it like year 2, so we weren't really doing the camera thing then. When I was on top and I was looking down at my friends, they looked like little ants.
They were so small.
Like, the climb itself is probably 20 plus feet. But then you have to, like, get over the lip, and all the buttermilk boulders are, like, egg-shaped. So you get over the lip, and then you have to climb another, like, 30 feet to get to the top. It's not really climbing, it's just walking up slab. But you're so high up there. It's crazy. And then you have to down climb overhanging jugs for, like, 30 feet. That was the scariest part.
The down climb was horrifying. It was great.
In the book, it's a 4-star problem, and I would totally agree with that. It is my favorite climb of all time, for sure.
Nothing beats it.
Nothing beats it. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our top 5 climbs, or top 8, or whatever the final count is. Maybe when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we'll do another top 5, and they'll be harder.
And just be evolution across the board. Every move on evolution.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
The start, the
Yep.
top out,
Yep.
the slab.
Yep.
Thank you to all of our subscribers and everyone who comments, lets us know what you guys like, what you don't like, how you're
Appreciate it.
feeling. We really appreciate it.
It's nice.
It gives us kind of motivation to continue making these videos. We have a lot of fun doing it, though, so we're not going to stop. I guess that's it. I'm Jake Love.
Kyle Love.
We're Badwater Productions, and we'll catch you guys later.